Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lauren Fix.
And I'm Paul Bryan.
And this is the 2025 Volvo EX30. It is all new.
It is. And we've come all the way to Spain to take a look at it. And
Barcelona, my favorite, one of my favorite cities.
my favorite is still Malaga down on the coast.
Okay.
But ain't a bad second place.
Yeah.
We've got a brand new Volvo. Listen to the engine roar. Oh, wait.
It's all electric. Right, and they're also going to have the EX90, which is a larger version, but this is a small car that offers a lot of big space, a lot of technology, tons of safety. So Paul, let you get started with the design of this vehicle.
If you take a look at any of the new Volvos that are out, you're going to see a design element that's very prevalent in here, and they call this Thor's hammer. This lights up here, and then you get this, the head of the hammer that goes in there. And it's a wonderful design element for it. Of course, there's no grill because there's no engine there to cool. But underneath, we've come to get what has become known as a frunk because it's not really a trunk. And this one really isn't all that big. I think it's like about 0.2, 0.3 feet. It's big enough for the charger cable, basically. And that's what you're going to need for it.
What's unique is this hood goes down like a bonnet, like you would on a British car, but this is a Scandinavian design.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the neat design elements they really thought about. It's not strong lines, but they're really nice sloping lines.
It is, and it has to be melted into the aerodynamics that are needed on any car, but in particular on an EV. They're trying to get every little squeal out of the oinky that they can.
Make it slippery through the air so you're using less energy. There are 3 trim levels available for the EX30, the Core, the Plus, and the Ultra, and that means 3 different wheel sizes, starting with 18, 19, and 20 for the all-wheel drive. All the vehicles ride on low rolling resistant all-season tires.
When we get our comments back from you, often we hear, hey, Paul, Lauren, everything is starting to look like everything else. We kind of get that, but I'm going to say that this is a jewel in a sea of not jewels, which is a technical way of putting it. But I think that they have done an exceptionally good job on the design of this. And I think keeping this element here, this line, and the idea of the car dark on top, slims it down nicely, and it kind of hides the window height. I know that Lauren mentioned the tires. There's going to be wheels. There's going to be an optional wheel that's coming along maybe next year that I hear the boss likes. So you know it's going to happen. That's a little bit different design from this, but I'm impressed with this from a design standpoint. I think the back, in particular at night, has got a great look to it. It's very distinctive, and I like what designers are doing lately with incorporating really creative lighting designs.
We're seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, we are. And this is exceptionally good with what they've done.
Upper wing is nice.
It is nice.
It looks like there's not a lot of visibility, but there is a lot of visibility in this vehicle. You'd be surprised.
I didn't feel challenged at all driving it.
And this is my personal thing. I like wiper blades tucked underneath. Is that necessary? No, but it's a Lauren thing. And then you got the Volvo and all this LED. But what I like is these stacked taillights. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Really nice design elements and just super clean across the back. Let's take a look at the interior of this car because it's pretty impressive.
Well, and it's where you're going to be spending most of your time.
I hope so.
Yeah.
The seating surfaces are all recycled material, different color choices, really soft. There is no leather option. There is one seat adjustment for both vehicles, whether you want lumbar, forward, or back. It's one single adjustment, which is nice. Really convenient, a lot of nice details. This is Volvo's flag for their country, Sweden. Really nicely done. Just little details that make the interior really nice. Seats are super comfortable, and I'm really picky about seating. Second row seating is a bit tight. This is a compact crossover, but there is a pocket behind each seat, very nicely designed. And behind the center console, you have window lifts as well as 2 USB-C charge ports, more storage, and this tray, which comes out, and it is washable with nice little details, good for garbage, a purse, whatever you want to put, lunch, whatever that might be. There's also storage in the door, and those really cool, unique designed door handles, which I really like. This is one of the different interiors. There are multiple different interiors, 4 different choices, all recycled material, really nicely done. And these seats do fold 40, 20, 40.
Now, Volvo's got what they call safe space technology. It offers driver awareness sensing, advanced auto braking, and aptitudes for like bicyclists and pedestrians. The Park Pilot Assist, which is pretty cool, and that's all standard.
That's nice. That's all standard. That's impressive.
It is. It's standard with a suite of driver assist features to help avoid accidents. Standard automatic emergency braking and that's for pedestrians and cyclists as well. And then lane departure warning with lane keeping assist, which frankly bothers me a lot from time to time. But
you don't have to have it on. You can have it on if you don't pay attention.
Shut it off.
Yep.
And standard also is the adaptive cruise control with a lane centering feature.
And one of the things it has is an around view camera. And actually, it's pretty nice.
I like that.
It was crystal clear. That's what I've become like really picky about backup cameras. Some of them are really bad, but this one is really impressive. And on the seats, if you buy the heated seats, it's an extra option across the full lineup. That includes heated steering wheel, $500. There is no ventilated seats offered on any trim level, at least not at this point. But the interior is made of recycled materials. Now, whether you like that or not, I think they did a really nice job. They're interesting, like vinyl window frames and linwood seed.
It's another one of those things where they went, we're making it out of this stuff, linseed and window trims. I understand
that's pretty cool. But there are 4 interior themes. The Indigo, which is made of recycled denim jeans. There's Breeze and Pine and Mist. They really thought of neat things. It's all centered on a 12.3-inch portrait layout center screen, but I like the sound bar. The fact that it's one bar across the front.
And think of that like when you get a big screen TV.
Yeah.
The sound bar that you put all the way across the bottom, instead of having the speakers in the doors, it goes straight across, kind of where the windshield meets the top of the dash.
Yeah, but it's Harman Kardon, which is like, oh.
Yes, it is.
So, no ignition switch. That's the thing you got to get used to. You get in the car, and you have the key in your pocket, and you just put your foot on the brake and go. But as far as other things, the interior is sewn of flax and wool. It's got some really cool materials. I like the door handles. I think they're spectacular. They look like a line of silver, but it's actually the door pull. I think that was super creative. And also the cup holder combination, because it folds in if you don't want it. It can go out in different stages, whether it's for 2 cup holders, 1 cup holder. And what did I say the mats that are in there are made of like fishnet or something, like worn.
Yeah, recycled fishnets.
That's pretty interesting.
Well, you know.
Yeah. So the whole system. If you're a salmon. So the whole thing is Google-based user experience. So you get the Google Maps and navigation. It comes standard with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android. Well, there is wireless charging. We did suggest to Volvo Corporate to have 2. So there's a spot for 2 phones. It should be dual wireless.
There's room for it.
Yeah,
here.
Absolutely. I like this vehicle. Let's take it for a test drive and show you both motors, the dual motor and the single motor. And at the end, Paul and I will decide which one we want.
Well, we'll see.
There are 2 different motor options, a single and a dual motor, which we have driven both. Just for reference, the rear-wheel drive, the single motor is 268 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. You want that dual motor the way I like it, 422 horsepower, all-wheel drive, 400 pound-feet of torque, and that performance all-wheel drive mode must be used with 80% charge. The dual motor does a 0 to 60 launch at 3.4 seconds.
It has the same 69 kilowatt battery pack that's said to offer up to 275 miles of driving per charge. The all-wheel drive, that's the 2-motor model, is estimated at 265 miles per charge. And they've got a DC fast charging connection at a peak charging rate of 153 kilowatts. Now, Volvo claims that the battery can be charged from 10 to 80% in 27 minutes. Well, this is the one that everybody wants to drive, and it's where they anticipate they're going to have the majority of their sales in the United States with the 2-motor all-wheel drive version of the EX30. And so far, at least,
yes,
we haven't been able to get off this snaky, slow road on the coast here in Barcelona.
That's not a bad thing, is it?
Well, when you've got 400 plus horsepower sitting there, you want to romp it, and the problem is that we really haven't quite been able to do that.
Maybe
yet.
they don't want us to experience the 0 to 60 time at 3.6 because they know we're going to get addicted to it. But there is a performance mode also. We'll get a chance to do that as well.
Yeah.
But we're going to drive both. So it's important. So if you want a single motor, you can get one. You want a dual motor, it's available. Dual motor's all-wheel drive, which makes sense for many areas.
I'm thinking for the 10 miles less range that you get.
When you purchase the all-wheel drive, because it's 2 motors,
You know, it would make sense for me personally to go ahead and get the 2-motor.
Absolutely.
It's more money.
Yeah, but the resale will be better too.
Exactly.
Or in your lease payments should be really good because that's going to be your high demand spot right now.
Yeah,
so
so
the
that'll
pre-orders,
have
it's
a-
what, 80% they said of the pre-orders?
Whoa, boy.
Yeah, the roads are narrow here in Europe.
Holy
You get used to it.
shnikes. All that Volvo is
Right.
is wrapped up in safety.
Right, well, they invented the seatbelt, but they call this safe space technology. Don't even go there. Put it in the comments down below. Safe space technology. I get it. I get what they're talking about. But everything's standard. The only thing you can get extra is when you buy the top trim level, you can get the Park Pilot Assist and the advanced auto braking for pedestrians and bicyclists. But I will tell you, there's a lot of bicyclists here, and they're all over these super narrow, snaky roads.
Yeah. The thing is that over here, the roads are more narrow, and
Yes.
the trucks are more narrow than our trucks at home.
With the cab overs, yeah.
But still, it gets your attention. This is really a radical change from what most people have, which is where you've got dials, gauges, controls right in front of you.
Right.
And so it's a different thing, and it's a little distracting for me to look over. But hell, I don't think I've broken the speed limit.
There are cameras all over Europe. I experienced this in London. We were at Goodwood.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. If you start speeding, you get tickets. They don't even, there's no one pulling you over. You just get a ticket in the mail. If you get enough points, they take away your license because it's an honor to drive on their roadways. It is not a right. It isn't a right anywhere. It's a privilege. So keep that in mind if you tend to be lead-footed. You want to do that on a racetrack. You don't want to do that on the street. And it does have speed reminders, which is an EU regulation now. So if you're driving over the limit, you're going to get a visual and an audible notification.
There are parts I love about Europe, and there are parts that I don't love about Europe. And
We know you love the food
yeah, I was going to
and
say,
the wine
it's a hell of a breakfast.
and the women. That may end Paul's portion of this driving experience.
And now let's go over to Lauren for her impressions of driving.
There is a semi-autonomous driving mode that is available on all the trim levels, and I'm in that mode right now. So when you're in drive and the road conditions apply and the roads are mapped, you press the drive button down a second time, and this has me to put my hands on the wheel for a second. It knows to load. The drive button goes green, the lane goes green, and it will semi-autonomous drive for you. I mean, there's no such thing as self-driving, as Paul and I have talked about. And so it's really important that you still keep your hands on the wheel. I'm going to take it out of that drive mode. The reason is it's great when you're on long, straight roads. It does what it's supposed to do. But I personally prefer putting my hands on the steering wheel. Thinking of the weight of this vehicle, or any of these vehicles, I think I'll drive the vehicle rather than be driven. Again, if you need it for just a second to grab a cup of coffee, take a sip, put it back, Diet Coke or something or whatever, I think that makes sense. Paul and I have seen this vehicle a couple times, and we got a chance to drive it at the North American Car and Truck of the Year SUV drive in Detroit. And I only got like 15 minutes in it, so I didn't want to make a decision until I actually got an opportunity to drive it on the road. And one of the things I think you get when you buy a Volvo is because it is a European car. It is not, it's not when you're driving other brands. It has a certain feel to it, a certain sense of detail and design, and I think it has that. But as far as the vehicle itself, I personally like either a head-up display if there's a center screen. To me, that would be like the nicest little add-on.
Me too. That would be perfect.
That's all you need. And then you can still keep the center screen.
Yep.
I know Tesla's doing this and they sort of started the trend, but truthfully, I find it, you want to know what the speed is, you got to look to your right. I mean, you don't have to turn your head and your body, but still, to me, I think keep your eyes on the road, your hand on the wheel. A head-up display would be like perfect. Now that may be coming in the top trim levels. We know there's more stuff coming. We're driving, these are early production, but it's easy to drive. It drives like a European car. It has that Scandinavian design both inside and out. I'm a huge fan of the sound bar and the technology. It's easy to use. Everything about Volvo's product has always been about that. And that little dinging in the background that's driving Paul and I crazy is Google Maps saying, you're driving too fast.
Oh, is it annoying?
It's because of the European Union regulations. Let's drive the single drive motor. Paul and I will each get an opportunity to drive it here on the roads in Barcelona, where they're going to get it obviously here in Europe first. And remember, this vehicle is built in China and also going to be built in Belgium, which is kind of neat. So we'll be monitoring all the builds, and it's going to, the Belgian cars are going to be built for the U.S. This will be a 2025 model year. It is also running for World Car of the Year. Paul and I are North American Car and Truck of the Year jurors, and this will be running for the SUV category. So let's take that single motor vehicle for a drive, the EV30 for a drive.
You know, I've driven both the 2-motor and the 1-motor, and the predominant feeling I get here is that, you know what, I think I might be the 1-motor guy.
Really?
And I'm usually the 2-motor guy.
I'm the 2-motor guy.
Well, yeah,
gal.
I mean, you are. But I'm really thinking that if I'm using this as my commuter car, as my ostensibly second car,
right?
I'm.
What about the winter? If you drive in snow or conditions where you might be using it.
Well, I think it's going to be a factor of tires that you've got on there and other stuff.
Well, we drove rear-wheel drive in the winter, so
yeah,
I guess
I mean, we grew up with rear-wheel drive in the wintertime, before everybody had to lean on all-wheel drive to make up for their own inadequacies.
So what do you gain? 10 miles of range.
Yeah.
Obviously less power, but if you're not using the performance mode...
But that's my point. If you aren't using it...
Right, then you're paying for something you're not using.
Yeah, we'll get into pricing later on, but,
right.
but it may make a really strong financial case for this car.
All right, let's talk about the charging for this vehicle and what it looks like on the batteries.
Lauren and I have no problem with our gear. We've just got a couple of things. 60-40 split on the rear seat, 14 cubic feet of room in this area, and then if you flip back the seats in the passenger in the back row, it will expand up to almost 32 feet. So, how much is this going to set you back to be driving the newest Volvo on the block?
Right. Remember, there's two different versions of each trim level: the Core, the Plus, and then the Ultra.
And you got to separate that out because then you got the 1-motor,
right,
and the 2-motor as well.
Right.
And the 1-motor base is going to start at about 34,700,
34,950.
Okay.
Loaded up with every option, you're at 47,895. But there's no federal tax assistance. But your state might have something.
Yeah.
Or your company. A lot of companies are offering discounts and all kinds of incentives.
They do.
So here's some interesting information that we didn't get a chance to cover. Warranty is 4 years, 50,000 miles, and the battery components are 8 years, 100,000 miles, and there's complimentary scheduled maintenance for 3 years or 36,000 miles. That's pretty good.
It is.
Save a few bucks.
It is.
Now let's talk about competitors. There really aren't any competitors.
Well, you could make a couple of arguments of like a Kona.
Yeah.
A Hyundai Kona.
Maybe an EV6. Something.
Yeah.
There's a lot because it's sort of like that sweet spot. And then you go, well, it's not an entry level. It's not a non-luxury. Okay, well then you're looking at BMW, Audi, and Mercedes. They're in that space. You've got Jaguar. You've got Land Rover. I mean,
there's a lot.
There's a lot. But they're saying there's no competitors. But as far as pros and cons, I like this car. I mean, I think this offers a lot. And the only negative for me I'd like to see dual chargers in that front carrier, and I'd like to see a head-up display. I'm not a big fan of that center screen. What are your thoughts?
I hate the center screen.
You do?
I do. And
What would you like to see instead?
maybe the head-up display would solve the problem for me, but I think there was a little bit of imitation going on.
Like a Tesla-esque?
Yeah. I think that's what was going on there. And I think everybody kind of rushed to it and said, okay, we're going to do this. But I think the head-up display would probably take care of that nicely.
All right, so what do you like about this vehicle?
I like the design. If you're a power-hungry, gotta go fast, I get it. The two motor, but come on, you're making me sound like I don't enjoy that, and I really do.
You've got some
but
toys.
I'm talking about what this vehicle is designed to do mainly.
Right. It's good for around town. It's good to go to some distances. The problem with all this electric vehicles is they're not great on a road trip, like a coast-to-coast road trip or a north to south of the United States.
Unless you got some time on your hands.
Yes, but they make other vehicles for that. But Volvo says they're going to be 100% electric, not just plug-in. But right now they're doing the transition, offering mild hybrids, offering PHEVs, plug-in hybrids, and electric.
Yeah.
And you're going to see more product coming their way. And I love the new design. And it's all about safety with Volvo, and they have definitely accomplished what they promised to deliver.
They did. So, shall we?
Yes, if you'd like to support our channel, you can buy us a cup of coffee. The link for that is down below. If you got value from this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow Paul on his social media and mine. It's all listed down below, as well as the website, the book, and the podcast. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.